Welcome back. Welcome back. Don McKay in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. Get breaking news, adult conversations covering topics that are important to the Black culture. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and TV programs. So, your man Don McKay in here. Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been deemed effective in documents released by the FDA. What does that mean? This is a one-shot vaccine, and they said that the favorable safety profile is good and is shown to be effective against severe COVID-19. Severe COVID-19. It means that this is supposed to keep you out of the hospital, keep you alive. Yes, you could still get COVID, according to these documents, but it will not be a serious case. So that's what they're saying. The vaccine, according to the FDA, is overall safe and highly effective, 86% against the most severe outcome of the illness. So, they've been pushing these vaccines and they're going to continue to push vaccines. This favorable review comes 2 days before a panel of independent advisors to the FDA is scheduled to discuss the company's application for emergency use. It is widely expected that the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee will vote to recommend authorization of this vaccine. So this is going to be another vaccine that is coming to market in this fight, right? And when they say it is deemed safe, right? Deemed safe, that is something that they say happens by an independent panel. Let me be transparent. I'm not taking the vaccine. Okay. I am just stating what they're saying about these vaccines. This is just a third vaccine that's going to come to market. And the FDA went so far as to say that the vaccine has a favorable safety profile with no specific safety concerns identified that would preclude issuance of an emergency use authorization. See, I hate emergency use authorization because here's why. It gives the government, it gives the drug companies this blanket of protection in case things go wrong. Oh, it wasn't approved. It was just for emergency use. And in other words, this is a green light. They're gonna go forward with this. Now, keep in mind, the FDA is not required to go along with the panel's recommendations, but it usually does. It usually goes forward with whatever they recommend. Yesterday, 5 COVID-19 vaccine manufacturers, including Johnson & Johnson, told Congress that they're working to ramp up the rollout of doses in the days, weeks, and months to come. So this is going to be something that they are going to continue to push down the throats, and in this case, the arms of Americans. So are you excited about this? This is another vaccine. This is a one shot. Does that mean that this shot's going to hit you harder than both of those other two shots that you had to get? The Pfizer and Moderna? Those other two shots, is this Johnson & Johnson one going to just combine all of that and just bam, it hit you real hard? We don't know that yet. There's so much that we don't know. Globally, however, the effectiveness of this vaccine against moderate to severe disease was lower than 66%. So go figure. Now, is that due to the decrease in effectiveness against the variant first found in South Africa? In that country, the vaccine's effectiveness is 57%. So are they telling us the truth with this? Across the world, not that effective, right? And those variants are present in America. So that should, in all logic, bring the efficacy level down from that 86%. Johnson & Johnson is a company who put out the baby powder, just so you, to make you remember. Years later, this baby powder was deemed unsafe. But of course, years ago, it was deemed fine. Is that going to be the same case here? Can we trust any of this with so much uncertainty? The Johnson & Johnson shot only requires basic refrigeration for storage. You trying to tell me I can just put this in my freezer? Now, there's so much that I have a problem with. And just because they say something doesn't make it true, especially without any long-term examples. This stuff is just popping up. As far as vaccines go, this stuff is new. All this stuff is new. All this stuff is new. So it's uses in this country. They say 86%. That is what they're saying against severe cases. I'm just not there yet. Now, I know a lot of you are taking the vaccine. And I'm not going to discourage you from taking the vaccine. Do what you want to do. But this Johnson & Johnson vaccine that is probably going to come to market for emergency use in the next few days, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling any of these, actually. I'm not feeling any of these. So yes, they've given it a favorable review, and you're just supposed to take their word for it. And this is supposed to be an independent panel, and you're just supposed to, take their word for it. But we're gonna continue to see. Many Americans want these vaccines. Why do they want them? It gives them this sense of things are coming into order, and if these vaccines can prevent them from having a severe case of COVID-19, then that is enough for them. So tell me this: has your view on vaccines changed? Are you ready to roll up your sleeve and let them shoot you with this? I'm going to call it an experimental drug. Are you ready? Are you ready for that? Let me know. I like to hear. And people that have had these shots, definitely, I'd like to talk to you if you had received these vaccines. What is your experience been? Just tuning in. Don McKay in the morning on the all-new Radio on Fire. Here on the show, we deliver the biggest political and news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across the country. Don McKay in the morning is fun. It's upbeat. But I also want to expose what is really happening in America. New episodes of the program drop Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. But I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts because in addition to the 8 a.m. program, we drop content throughout the day as news happens. So hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. So Tiger Woods is recovering after surgery. So he is awake and all of that following that car crash yesterday. The professional golfer sustained multiple leg injuries following yesterday's accident. And in a statement, his spokesperson said that he is currently awake, responsive, and recovering in his hospital room, talking about the golf great Tiger Woods. Thank you to the wonderful doctors and the hospital staff at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and Fire Department. Your support and assistance has been outstanding. Also included a comment from the Chief Medical Officer and Interim CEO at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, who's detailed the injuries suffered by Tiger Woods. He said that Mr. Woods suffered significant injuries to his right lower extremity that were treated during emergency surgery by an orthopedic trauma specialist at the Harbor UCLA Medical Center, a level 1 trauma center. So there were open fractures affecting both the upper and lower portions of the tibia and fibula bones. They were stabilized by inserting a rod into Tiger Woods' tibia. Excuse me, I am not a doctor. Trauma to the muscle and soft tissue of the leg required surgical release of the covering of the muscles to relieve pressure due to swelling. How is this going to affect Tiger Woods' golf game? I don't even know if he's going to have a golf game. The Los Angeles County Sheriff revealed that he believes Tiger Woods was driving at a relatively greater speed than normal. Right? You don't say. Thank you, Sheriff Obvious. The road that has a downhill slope has sees frequent accidents. This is a very dangerous strip of road. They believe that the car suffered several rollovers before emergency services were called. This was a serious accident. Tiger Woods was found in his car. He was able to communicate and he was conscious. So, police have also denied that there was any evidence of impairment. He wasn't on drugs or drinking. They also confirmed that Tiger Woods was wearing his seatbelt. They also said that the weather was not a factor in all of that. So I guess this is just Tiger Woods is a golfer. He's not a race car driver. However, he was driving at high speeds. That's what I am getting from all of that. Interesting. It is Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radio on fire.com. Diamond K in the morning is now available on the WRF radio app. Simply download WRF radio in your app stores and leave me a comment. You can scroll your timeline, attend Zoom meetings on mute, or do some online shopping while you listen to Diamond K in the morning. And as I said, we're available anywhere you get your podcast or videos and all of that. Jumping back to COVID-19 for a moment, and a very alarming study finds that the virus survives on fabric for 3 days. So this is a new study that has revealed that the virus, which causes COVID-19, can linger in fabric, clothing, upholstery for up to 3 days. Between polyester and the polycotton blend and the 100% cotton fabrics, these garments pose the greatest risk even after 72 hours. On a full cotton sample, the virus lasted 1 day, while the polycotton blend remained contaminated by viral droplets for just 6 hours. So the breakthrough finding could be especially dangerous when it comes to clothing worn by healthcare workers. And I think that many of them are aware of that. The clothing needs to be frequently washed. And if it's not frequently washed, the fabrics could help transmit the virus from patient to patient. So when the paramedic first started, there was a or the pandemic rather. When this pandemic first started, there was very little understanding of how long coronavirus could survive on garments. But the findings show 3 of the most commonly used textiles in healthcare pose a risk of transmission of the virus. So really, we're talking about These are, I don't want you thinking you as a regular individual not working in a hospital. This is people that are working in a hospital that, throwing on something, putting it on, taking it off, not washing it enough. If the nurses and healthcare workers take their uniforms home, they could be leaving traces of the virus on other surfaces, and that's how the spread happens. So we definitely need to look at things in terms of sanitizing. So researchers found that soap and scorching hot water at least 153 degrees Fahrenheit, 67 degrees Celsius, was required to effectively clean 100% cotton fabric, which is commonly used for medical staff uniforms. So that needs to be hot water when you are washing that. And regular household washing machines typically only go up to about 130 degrees at their hottest settings. So the findings suggest that the hospital staff should refrain from wearing their uniforms home. You work in a hospital, do not wear your uniform home. The research has really reinforced that all healthcare uniforms should be washed on site at the hospital or in an industrial laundry. These wash methods are regulated, and nurses and healthcare workers do not have to worry about taking the virus home. Very important information. Very, very important information. But this study, as I said, finds that the virus survives on surfaces, fabrics, for 3 days. For 3 days. So what you need, the information is something. Now, this is different to me from vaccine information because this is just involving us being cautious and you're not injecting something in your body that has not been tested. But like I said, I'm not trying to discourage you. If that's what you're feeling, by all means, do that. Now, Don McKay in the morning here on RadioOnFire.com, the all new RadioOnFire.com. City students talking about Baltimore City. Baltimore City students and staff will be tested each week for coronavirus. Baltimore City is going to start weekly coronavirus testing for its staff and students. City school officials updated the school board last night during its meeting. Currently, only those who are experiencing symptoms will be tested. The school system has been doing these tests since December, they say. And high school students and staff will receive the PCR saliva test. Elementary students and staff will be given the PCR nasal swab test. Baltimore City started bringing students back for in-person classes and learning centers 6 months ago. Starting on March the 1st, students in kindergarten through second grade will return to classrooms. Those in grades 3 through 5 and ninth graders go back to school buildings on the 15th of March. High school seniors return in April. How odd is that? Seniors returning in April. And decision will be made next month about when remaining students will return for in-person learning. Are you sending your child back to school? Are you still nervous about that? Definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. So that is things are slowly getting back to the next level. I hate to say the new normal, but I don't think that we've quite seen where that is. But things are slowly getting back to where they were. Now, let me say this. They're not going to be exactly how they were. I think that masks are going to be around for the long haul. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that uh, that is to be expected. I think that people are of being around folks, and I don't see that as a problem. I don't see that as a problem. Uh, are you sending your child back to school? I'd like to know that. Are you sending? Are you going back to work? Are you working remotely? Like, what is going on? Your man Diamond K in here, Diamond K in the morning on the all new radio on fire.com. We talked about the lack of death of Daniel Prude. If you remember last year, he died after contact with police. They put a hood over his head, a spit hood as they call it. He was naked in the street. But this encounter with police in Rochester, Prude was in a mentally distressed state at the time of the encounter. Officers placed his hood over his head. They handcuffed him. They pressed his body against the pavement until he stopped breathing. This was actually before George Floyd. We did not find out about this until 6 months, or see the video 6 months after, September-ish. So despite the body camera footage showing the police culpability, at the very least, their culpability. A grand jury office presented the strongest possible case, but could not persuade the grand jury that the officers committed a crime. The grand jury was like, okay, I mean, spit hood, unarmed man, naked in the street. Yeah, he handcuffed. Yeah, it was very dangerous for the officers, the multiple officers. Very dangerous, right? I know that the Prude family, the Rochester community, and communities across this country will rightfully be disappointed by the outcome, Attorney General Letitia James said. Now, while James isn't seeking further action, she did express her discontent with the system and how she frustrated efforts to hold law enforcement officers accountable for unjustified killing of African Americans. She is obviously African American, and she says that she understands. What binds these cases is a tragic loss of life in the circumstances in which the death could have been avoided. I think that is absolutely spot on. These deaths could have been avoided. One recognizes the influences of race, from slave codes to Jim Crow to lynching to the war on crime to the over incarceration of people of color. Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and now Daniel Prude. Wow. According to the attorneys of the 7 officers suspended over Prude death, 7 people, this naked black man, handcuffed on the ground, no weapons, was a danger to these 7 people. That's what they're saying. That's what they want you to believe. The defense also claimed that Prude's death was caused primarily by his use of PCP, which made him irrational and gave them the right to kill, according to them. Tragic case. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to this. It's not right. We cannot continue to allow that. Diamond K in the morning on the all new radio on fire. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break because I have more to get into after this. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. We're able to broadcast programs like the Dami K Show because of our listeners and some amazing partners like The Lifestyle Secrets. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you're continuing to age, the goal is to experience as few aches and pains as possible while staying mobile. TheLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that by providing a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members to communicate naturally with their bodies. TheLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit TheLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers today. And I encourage you to shop with all the companies that support Radio on Fire. Before we get back to the show, have you ever had a NutriBurst liquid vitamin? This stuff tastes great, and they say it's great for you. NutriBurst liquid vitamin. Now, my girl Moochie told me about this, and me and Moochie go way back. She said, Dami K, you have got to try this. So I asked Moochie, what's so special about NutriBurst liquid vitamin? What makes it so good? Then she gave me the rundown. Check this out. 72 minerals, 10 vitamins, 22 phytonutrients, 19 amino acids, 13 whole vegetables, and 20 herbs. Get your NutriBurst liquid vitamin today at TotalLifeChanges.com/MyMoochie. That's TotalLifeChanges.com/MyMoochie. Tell them Radio on Fire sent you.
Giving you more talk, more news, and more music. It's Radio on Fire.
This pandemic has really sped up what was already happening. The world has become even more digital. Folks are on their computers, their tablets, their phones, all the time. This is where people go to get their information. Here at Radio on Fire, our target listener is 23 to 54 years old. So business owners, I know times are hard, but I also know how important it is to get in front of your customers. Advertise your business, product, service, or event on Dami K in the Morning or any of the other Radio on Fire programs. We have an affordable package for you. Visit radioonfire.com/advertise to get started. Again, radioonfire.com/advertise. We'd love to connect with you. Dami K in the Morning. Welcome back here on the all-new radioonfire.com. Some people seem to think because former President Barack Obama is smooth, because former President Barack Obama is chill, that he's just going to tolerate disrespect. So former President Obama was recalling breaking the nose of a friend who called him a coon. So if you didn't know, there's a podcast called Renegades, Born in the USA, co-hosted by Bruce Springsteen and former President Obama. So the two talked about racism in America, a topic that prompted Obama to recount his own story and experience with racism. And he shared an interesting story that to me, it shouldn't come as any surprise because people don't deal with disrespect well. A lot of people don't deal with that well. On this edition, he said that, listen, when I was in school, I had a friend, we played basketball together. And one time we got into a fight and he called me a coon. Now, first of all, ain't no coons in Hawaii, right? It's one of those things that where he might not even have known what a coon was, what he knew was, I can hurt you by saying this. Obama continued and said, and I remember popping him in the face and broke his nose, and we were in the locker room. So, interesting story there. I'm sure that former President Trump doesn't have any stories like that. I just don't see him responding to anything. I mean, of course, people didn't call him a coon, but anything, Trump is just not athletic. So there's always that. So definitely let us know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. And we'll be back later on today with more of the news as it happens.